Kamsang. Today we are going to learn Modals, English grammar of class 10. Let's start this class with a small activity. Well, okay, let's start it like this. You are sitting there at home on a sofa and watching TV with your family, okay? And you have your mother beside you and you are talking about food, F-O-O-D, food, right? Then all of a sudden your mother tells you that you can cook food. How will you feel? You can cook food means she's praising you. She's talking about your ability to cook food. You like it, right? Now again, after some time, if your mother tells you, you should cook food. Now here, if you are lazy, a bit lazy, then you'll be a little bit concerned, right? Now, a bit of obligations coming towards you. About 50% of obligations, right? And it's also an advice, right? You should cook food, advice as well as obligation. But if you are lazy, then you tend to think that it's just an advice. Okay, I'll cook food. I can cook food, and then I should cook food some other day, right? You may think like that also. And again, now if your mother tells you after some time, you must cook food, then what happens? How will you feel? If you are lazy, then you feel very much worried, right? Why? Because it's an obligation. It's an obligation. Look at the first sentence. She was talking about your ability. You were feeling good, pleased, right? And then second, it was a kind of advice or a little bit of obligation was there. You were a little bit concerned, but you ignored it. Supposing if you are lazy, that's what I'm talking about, right? Let's assume that you are a lazy boy or girl. And then third sentence. Now, this is a compulsion, right? Obligation. She's telling you to cook food. You must cook food. Now, what you may have observed here is, look at this. If you cover this, now all this rest of the words in the sentence are all same. You cook food. You cook food. You cook food. If we cover this one. Now, with this, the meaning changes. Right? And your reaction also changes. Also, you can cook food. You should cook food. You must cook food. Here you're talking about ability. Here you're talking about your advice as well as some obligation. And here we're talking about total obligation, right? Now, after seeing these sentences, look at the definition here. Modals are types of auxiliary verbs that express the mood or attitude of the speaker, and they give additional information about the function of the main verb. Of course, we have main verb here, cook, 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 right? And the ones here coming in front of them are auxiliary. Auxiliary means helping verb. The other name of auxiliary is helping verb, okay? Just like we had helping verb, other types of, is, was, are, they are there. We'll talk about that later when we talk about the characteristics, okay? Now, you look at this. They're acting as helping verb. Because of them, the whole meaning changed. Now, this shows the attitude and the mood of the speaker and of the sentence also. And your reaction also changes with this, right? So this is how modals work. Modals are types of auxiliary verbs that express the mood of the attitude of the speaker. Your mama is talking about, her mood is to talk about your ability first, right? So she's not asking you to make food, cook food. And here she's advising, her mood is of giving advice or a little bit of responsibility to you. Then here the mood is completely to make you do the work, cook the food. That means obligation. Now, we'll understand that further when we discuss these characteristics of modals. And see, we call it modal verbs also, okay? There are especially 9 types of principal English modals, in fact. Principal English modals, and they are here. Can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should, must. These are principal modals in English language. And apart from that, we have ought to, need, have to, dare, and they are known as semi-modals or quasi-modals because sometimes they are classed together with modals and sometimes they are not. That is why they are called semi-modals. Now, coming to the characteristics of modals here, you can see characteristics. Now, for that, let me rub this, okay? Because I have to write some characteristics. Now, look at that. They have only one form. You can see. Yeah. Right? If you write, I can play music. Right? Now this can, you cannot write canning. You cannot add ing. Or you cannot write canned. Over here, in the same way, we cannot write down shalling or shalled or shalls. You cannot write shallings. That means this has got only one form. Modals have got only one form. And you can see those, right? Can, could, you cannot change them at all right? In the past tense, if you want to write this must, you cannot write musted. You cannot write that. That is what characteristic number 1 says. Moving on to the second one, they are always followed by the base form of verb. Now see, cook. It is verb number 1, right? Verb, cook. It's not. It is cook. That is base form. Verb number 1, we say. And it is not like cooked. This is verb number 2. Because we never write. We only write verb 1 after the modals. That is what the second characteristic says. We don't write ed. We don't write, verb number 3, verb number 4 after that. Now, we move on to number 3. This is very easy, right? They are used with main verb. Of course, this is the main verb, right? This is the main verb, and these are the auxiliary verbs or the helping verbs, and these type of helping verbs are called modals. Okay? And they work together. Now, this number 4 is very important. Alright, this is the subject and this is your main verb. Object is here and this is your modal, right? Yeah, modal. But, usually we with other verbs, supposing if I say I play football, in this type of verb, if I change the subject, she, then I have to write S here. Because she is the third person, right? She plays football. This is right. But here, if I change this into she, then I cannot write she can play football. I cannot write that. Because these modals, they don't change with the change in the subject. Okay? They don't change with the change in subject. So, she can play football itself will remain there. Alright? Okay, and it is relevant to this point also. As and es, yeah, they don't change with the change in the subject. Now we move on to this. We don't use don't or does not to change them into negative. All right, now he usually when it's sweets. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now if I want to change that into negative, I do like this, right? He does not or doesn't eat sweets, right? Because these are main verb and there's no helping verb here. So we can use does not or do not. If the subject is not singular, third person singular, then we use do not. But in case if we have like he can eat. Now if I want to make this into negative, then I have to do he. I cannot write down he does not can eat sweets. I cannot do like this. I cannot put does not in front of that this model. Okay. In the same way, you do not can eat sweet. It is also is wrong. What you need to do is the main point is that if you want to make this into negative, he can eat sweets. If you want to make this into negative, you just have to add not here. You just have to add not, or you can just write down an apostrophe t. Right? Can't. So this is how the negative. See, you can see that. This is how this point number 5 is. We don't use do not or does not to change these modals into negative. All right. I hope the concept of modal is clear here. And now, after that, what we need to do is, where do we use them or when do we use them? Now, look at this one. You can look at this one. Lower, a modal is used to express ability, permission or request, advice, and you may say suggestion also, obligation, yeah, compulsion is there, and possibility, probability also. We have in number 6 here necessity, and this one is prohibition. Okay, and these are the things that are expressed by a modal. All right, a modal is used to express this ability, permission, advice, request, suggestion, obligation, possibility, necessity, or prohibition. Now, after that, let's use these ones in. Let's make examples of these modal verbs. These are modal verbs. Okay, we'll take them one at a time. Number 1 is can. Right? Okay, can. Now see, can, this modal can be used in ability, permission, and possibility also. How? I'll show you that. Ability. Okay, then we have is permission and possibility, or you can say probability also. Now when we write down I can swim, I can swim, you're talking about your ability to swim. You're saying, or you may say I cannot swim also. All right, then this is how you can show your ability by saying I can. This is the modal, and then this is the main verb. Okay, so these two are together, right? And what he's saying is I can swim means he's showing his ability. All right, ability to swim. Now next one is permission. Can I use your pen? Okay, when you ask your friends, can I use your pen? It's a permission, right? You're asking for permission, or maybe or you can say request also, right? In a very casual way. All right, when you're asking for something in a casual way, and when you're requesting in a casual way, you say, can I use your pen? Use your pen. Can I use your pen? All right, that's how we can use request. That's how can be used as request. All right. Then third one is possibility, right? Okay, possibility is look at this sentence. Smoking can cause cancer. There's a big possibility of causing cancer. In fact, it causes cancer. So probability is there, possibility is there. Smoking can cause cancer. This is how we show possibility. This is an example of possibility, and this is the modal. And causing, this one is your main verb. All right. Okay, now we move on to the second one. That is number 2 is good. You can see this here, right? I'm taking this one just now. Oh, this one also you can just take ability in the past. Number 1 can be. Okay, how? When I write down when I was younger, look at this sentence. Ability in the past. When I was, this was makes this past, right? Younger, I could run fast. This is the could. Now, just like we have ability here in the present, over here in the past also we have ability. Now, we talk about the past, and when we talk about the ability in the past, we write this could. All right? This is the modal, and this one is your main verb. All right? Is it clear? Now, second one is all right. Permission, but politely. How? Politely. Permission, polite permission, we can say. All right. When you ask your friend again, like, could you lend me your pen? You can say, could you please lend me your pen? If you write can here, it becomes casual, casual. If you write could there, it becomes more polite or more respectful also, okay? And then this makes it more formal also, makes it more respectful. Could you lend me your pen? Asking for permission politely, all right? This is the second. This one, this is an interrogative sentence, which is your modal, and lend is your main verb, all right? And this one is your subject. And number 3, again, possibility. This could, modal could can be used, and possibility also. Supposing if we say it could rain today, the modal could can be used as possibility or probability. Look at this sentence. It could rain today. Or you can say probability also. It could rain today. And that is how we can use this modal to express possibility. And this rain over here is not noun. This is verb. Okay, raining. That's what it is. Now, let's move on to the next one. Formulation of simple future tense. Now see, I say, I will buy a book. Can you see this well here? That will is used as a modal, right? And this is your main verb. You can see that it is referring to the future, right? Okay, and then it's also referring to the future action, okay? And it is also used promises. Promises. I will wait for you. You are promising to wait for me, right? I will wait for you. This is how you can use it as promise, all right? And then this can be used, will can be used as a request also, but in informal way. Request. Will you help me? See, look at this sentence. Will you help me, or will you lend me your book? That's how we request sometimes, right? Will you please help me to do my homework, right? But this we use in informal way, very casual way, okay, to request. And if you want to make it more formal or respectful, then you have to use would. Would you help me? All right, that we're coming to that point now. Next is would. And would, this modal would can be used to request politely. I'll show you that. Look at this. Would you help me? Or would you help me to write my homework? Previously, when we used will, it was quite casually we were asking for help or requesting somebody to help us. But here, when you write down would, that makes it more respectful now and more formal also. And would you help me? This is how we use would to request politely, and offering also is here. Number 2 is offering. What would you have? Okay, you may have heard this word when you go to the restaurants, that they're the people, I mean, the captain, or you can say the, waiters there, they ask you, what would you like to have, right? What would you like to have? Or you can ask questions like, would you like to have some coffee? Okay, would you like to have some coffee? And this is how these modals are used in offering things to the people, okay? You may have heard this, right? We ask for permission and we request people by using this model. Quite often in the classroom also, we hear the student asking, like, may I go to the washroom? This is permission. This is how may can be used as permission. May I go to the washroom? All right? And then we have possibilities also here. It may rain. We say it may rain. It may rain today. This may is making some possibility there. All right? And rain is your main verb. All right? Okay, that's how we can use this may as possibility also. And we have next we have might. Might is the past form of may itself, in fact. And here also we have possibility. Here also we have possibility. Here also we have possibility, might. You can say it might, possibility, I might go to Nepal on holiday. Next year. Okay, I might go to Nepal on holiday next year. This is the possibility, right? It may happen. It may happen. That possibility is being shown here. Next model is shall. You can see that this model shall can be used to express simple future tense, especially when time is involved. Look at this sentence. We shall go to the market in the evening. Over here we have time, right? In the evening. When? It is in the evening. And second thing you have to be careful about is your subject has to be first person only, whether it's singular or plural. We shall, I shall is fine. We will, I will is also fine. But if you write down you shall, that is wrong because you is your second person. You cannot write that. Or you cannot write she shall. Also, you cannot write that. So it has to be first person, either singular or plural. And shall can be used to express suggestion, right? Like, shall we go for a walk now? And also in offering help, shall I carry the bag for you? Okay? I'll move on to this should. It's just the past form of shall, and this model should can be used to express obligations and duty. First, obligations and duty. Look at this. You should look after your parents. This is your obligation. It is your duty, right? In fact, it's an honor. You should look after your parents. Obligations, duty. And then again, should can be used to express your advice or suggestion. You should consult a doctor. If somebody is not feeling well, you can give advice by saying you should consult a doctor. That is how should can be used as advice also. The next model is must. We can use this model must to express obligations, like you must finish your work or you must finish your homework. Sometimes we say that to the students, right? Obligations. The speaker is saying something to express obligations, okay? And then we can use it for emphatic advice also. You must study hard. That is an advice. And then logical conclusion is the third. How we use must as logical conclusion is, you can see here, You must be tired after the long journey. After the long journey, of course, people become tired, right? This is how we can use this modal must to express obligation, emphatic advice, and logical conclusion. Now we move on to the next one. These are the nine principal modals in English. And in addition to that, we have ought to, ought. Now this ought is usually followed by to infinitive, okay? And it is used to express what is right or sensible thing to do, or the right way to behave. Now example you can see. Early. Okay, look at this. You ought to get up early. That is the right thing to do, right? Get up early in the morning. And the next thing you can say is, we ought to exercise daily. That is also the right thing to do, right? Now the next thing we use ought to is for, it's used when we believe strongly that something's going to happen. Something's really going to happen. Supposing if there's a match between Real Madrid and Barcelona, I can say, example, Real Madrid ought to win the match. Look at this. Real Madrid Football Club ought to win the match. Because I strongly believe and expect Real Madrid to win the match. And we can use ought to express that also. Next modal is have to. Now this have to is used to express obligation. In fact, you can see from the sentence, you have to complete your homework. There is an obligation here. And previous points also we talked about must, where you have obligations and should also have some obligations. We can compare them here. Should also obligation, must also obligation, have to also obligation. But should means a mild obligation, okay? Internal obligation. You should work hard. It's for you. You have to think. It's for you. But if somebody says you must work hard, now the speaker is putting obligation there. Okay? There's an obligation from the speaker's side. And have to is the obligation from the authority or circumstances. That's an external obligation. Alright? This is how should, must, and have to works as obligations. Now, dare. And this dare is used to express the meaning, to be bold enough. I'll say, sometimes we say, don't dare to talk to me like that. How dare you speak to me like that? Don't you dare to break the glass. And this is how these sentences are used. And in addition to those modals, we sometimes use must not and need also. Alright? And must not is used, this modal is used to express prohibition. That means stopping you to do something, right? From doing something. Stopping you from doing something. You can take this example. You must not shout in the classroom. Okay? This is how shouting can be stopped, right? By using must not, alright? And then next one, and the next one is need. This modal can be used to express necessity. Well, in fact, this is mostly used as negative sentence. In negative, I can say that I need not buy a car. This is an example which I can give to express necessity. Alright? With this, I have explained how modals can express ability, permission, request, suggestion, obligations, possibility, etc. And the main thing is that you have to practice this, learn this. This will be very helpful for you in the examination also. And this is it from me today. Thank you very much.